You did this, MAGA Mike Johnson. This is your fault. This government shutdown is on your watch and Donald Trump's watch. You all wanted this to take place. MAGA Mike Johnson is panicking. He's terrified right now, and he's giving away the whole game. He went on state regime media, known as Fox, last night, and he was whining that if Republicans cannot keep the House of Representatives, then Donald Trump is going to get impeached. That's what he was saying. Donald Trump's going to get impeached. Here, watch this.
Speaker Johnson, you have a very, very, very narrow majority. At a scale of 1 to 10, how likely is it that the Republicans build on this very slim majority next year?
We're going to win the midterms. Absolutely. We're going to have a big victory, and I think we can expand that majority so we can keep going. We have to give President Trump 4 years and not 2. Imagine if the Democrats took over the House, they'd impeach him.
They're getting ready for the investigations. They're already ramping it up.
So that's what MAGA Mike's talking about, as the government is now in a shutdown because of Donald Trump. They're worried about his impeachment. That's what you saw he said on state regime media known as Fox. Then he went on CNN, and I thought Caitlin Collins from CNN did a good job here. She was questioning MAGA Mike about his and Donald Trump's lies that Democrats want to give trillions of dollars of American taxpayer money to support the health care of undocumented migrants when that's clearly just unlawful to begin with. So it's not part of the plan of the Democrats. Yet that's the talking point that Trump and Johnson and all the MAGAs keep on spewing. And MAGA Mike Johnson's like, you're wrong. It's in there. It's absolutely in there. And Caitlin Collins like, I've read the Democratic plan. It says nothing about giving any money to undocumented immigrants. What are you talking about? It's about simply protecting Americans' Affordable Care Act tax credits, because they're about to expire. So premiums are about to double. That's what's about to happen. That's what Democrats are fighting for. It's just that simple. It's not about transgender operations in Peru, or it's not about health care to undocumented migrants. It's not about those things, MAGA Mike Johnson. But watch MAGA Mike Johnson lie, and watch his body language. Like, you know, his weird facial expressions. Very strange. Here, play this clip.
We're rolling the greatest hits on our social media.
Yeah, I'm just saying that the point about giving people who are here illegally health care is not exactly what is in their proposal.
No, it is 100% what their
immigrants
proposal.
who have legal status,
No,
and you're just
Caitlin,
disagreeing on who's eligible. I looked at it, actually, because I was curious about your argument yesterday.
You should study the CBO's analysis that they just put out a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw that about the 1.2 million people. You're basically arguing about who has legal status, people who are seeking refuge here or seeking asylum.
No, I'm making sure that we are making sure in our provisions that we sign into law have ensured that health care benefits go only to eligible U.S. citizens. Chuck Schumer's proposal. Federal law was not being enforced. That's the whole point. We had to fine-tune that so that we could strengthen the health care program. That's what we did.
Get this information out into the algorithm however you can, because our .gov websites are now partisan. Do yourself a favor. Go over to HUD.gov. That's HUD.gov. I'll put it up here. And that is the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And I wish I was joking, but this is the pop-up that comes up. It says the radical left are going to shut down the government and inflict massive pain on the American people unless they get their 1.5 trillion wish list of demands. The Trump administration wants to keep the government open for the American people. If you exit out of that pop-up, it is listed again at the top of the page. And to that I say, there's a reason that the Hatch Act was passed in 1939. Literally, federal programs are administered in a nonpartisan fashion to protect federal employees from political coercion in the workplace and to ensure that federal employees are advanced based on merit and not based on political affiliation. There are laws in place to stop federal programming, federal departments, federal whatevers from being partisan. So why? Why of all departments are they putting this on the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development site? I believe truly it is a test because it is not listed on any other U.S. federal department's homepage, landing pages within that homepage, nothing. I think it is a test because Americans are more likely to be looking at things like the U.S. Department of Education or Homeland Security or Defense or State Department or the Treasury. Like, all of those are certainly more closely looked at and more so under a microscope than, say, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. This sets a dangerous precedent because if they can put, again, this message, the radical left, which could be anyone, quite frankly. If we're looking at accusations and things like that, all you have to do is say, well, they're a radical left person. It's dangerous because now we have broken the law in terms of the Hatch Act, but we're also seeing like this is true authoritarian takeover shit. It also very conveniently places the blame on anyone deemed to be a radical left or a Democrat or a socialist or a communist or whoever they deem to be radical left, right? It places the blame when federal funding gets shut off during the shutdown, because grants, funding, operational things that go on from the U.S. Department of Housing will have an immediate impact on those living in certain places. Anyway, this is illegal. Make sure everyone knows about it.
So Donald Trump and the Republicans got what they've always wanted. They got a government shutdown. Let's be honest, the reason we have a government shutdown is because the Democrats think that cutting Medicaid and not continuing to support the ACA is just a step too far, that the Republicans need to do that. Instead, the Republicans want to cut everybody's medical assistance and ACA and such. They want to cut millions of people off of their medical services. That's what they want to do. So here we are in a shutdown. Donald Trump believed that he could blame it on the Democrats, but that's not going to work. It's like everything Donald Trump does. He fucks it up. He miscalculates. He ends up implicating himself, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. So the shutdown started at midnight this morning, and we don't know how long it will go. Understand, the last shutdown happened 7 years ago during Donald Trump's term, and it was also the longest shutdown in history, 34 days. This isn't going to wear well on the Republicans. They fucked up enough things. Enough people are suffering, but you're going to add this on the top of it? This is the implosion of the Republican Party and Donald Trump. Ultimately, this is how it happens. Everything comes crashing down, and it falls right on them. That's what we're watching right now. It's unfortunate that people have to suffer to get through this point, but apparently with some people, in order for them to understand what in fact is going on, we got to burn the motherfucker down. So let's get it done as quickly as we can and move on in the right direction. I can't fucking wait for that when people are finally done with Donald Trump, the Republican, and all this bullshit. They're hurting you, and you still support him. Now, those of us with reasonable and like minds know better. But you motherfuckers don't get it. So you're going to find out right now. You're going to find out how badly he causes problems in this country and hurts people in this country. It'll be interesting to see how long it takes people to fucking realize what the facts are.
Well, there it is. Today's Republican Party genuinely does not care whether or not you have health care. Watch.
Are you in favor of extending the COVID Obama subsidy or the subsidies for Obamacare?
I'm not. You look at this was always meant to be a temporary emergency COVID era subsidy. It's a $350 billion price tag, and it is absolutely rife with fraud, waste, and abuse.
Oh, look at that. Suddenly Republicans are worried about the cost. $350 billion. Know how much Trump's tax cuts in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, the ones that go almost completely to the richest people in America, you know how much those are going to cost us over the next 10 years? $4.5 trillion. Trillion with a T. Now you may say, wait a minute, why wasn't I aware that it was going to add all that much money to the deficit? Well, because Republicans used an accounting trick when they were extending the rich people tax cuts. They used something called the current policy baseline to make it look like the tax cuts cost nothing, because they knew they had to get them through, but that Americans would be pissed if they knew how much they cost. Sadly, they have no such urgency when it comes to lowering middle-class Americans' healthcare costs. They don't want to use that accounting trick. They want to highlight the cost this time. By the way, a fun factoid that you should know, more than 90% of the people on the ACA make less than $63,000 a year. Exactly the kinds of people the Republicans have no interest in helping, but they are interested in, let's see, bailing out Argentina for $20 billion, sending U.S. military into cities even though they're not wanted or needed, upgrading a Qatari jet for Trump, that's going to cost $1 billion. And wow, let's not even get into how much Pete Hegseth's little man stunt with the military cost us. As for the so-called waste, fraud, and abuse, we know know that that's just a phrase Republicans break out when they want to cut things that help Americans. Oh, and by the way, there is no actual evidence of rampant fraud in the ACA. Just FYI. Not to mention, if Republicans really cared about that, why are they letting all the rich tax cheats get off? Because they think rich people should get to keep all of their money. They just don't want you to have it. These premium increase letters are going to go out in the next few days, you guys. If you are on the Affordable Care Act, brace yourself. Because of the Republican Party, who own this shutdown, who own this tanking economy, and who own the healthcare crisis that we are in right now, you are going to see your premiums skyrocket. When you open that letter and you see that number, make sure that you have got your Republican lawmaker's phone number close to hand, and then you give them hell.
Hey everybody, it is Wednesday, October 1st, 2025, and it's the first official day of the government shutdown right here in the United States. First, I want to say congrats to all who made this incredible moment happen. Anyways, about an hour ago, James Donald Bowman, presidential hopeful, aka JD Vance, gave a press conference, and it wasn't Caroline with 3Ks Levitt, and it wasn't even Dementia Donnie. I'm very confused. James Donald Bowman, aka JD Vance, kind of gave the podium a try, if you know what I mean. Here are some riveting things that he had to say.
We have people who require food assistance, low-income Americans who require food assistance, who will not get it unless we reopen the government, thanks to Chuck Schumer and his wing of the Democratic Party.
Those are the Democrats, and that one guy is a Republican. I'm pretty sure you guys didn't show up to work yesterday.
Let's be honest. If this thing drags on for another few days, or God forbid another few weeks, we are going to have to lay people off. We're going to have to save money in some places so that essential services don't get turned.
So James Donald Bowman, I hope I can call you that because woke is dead and we go with birth names. Once again, that's the Democrats. They all showed up to work yesterday to have a conversation and come to an agreement. And this Lone Ranger right there, that's the one Republican.
Who are negotiating in good faith are saying, look, we just want to make sure that we're able to have a conversation with the administration about some of the critical needs that we see that need to get fixed over the next few months. We recognize it's kind of absurd, and a lot of them will admit in private that it's kind of absurd to shut down the people's government over these disagreements, but just agree to...
Jamie, can I call you Jamie? I feel like that's a variation on James, so that's probably not too woke. Once again, Democrats showed up to negotiate, and Party of One over here did as well. But where are the rest of the Republicans? I mean, I see it with my own two eyeballs, who came to work yesterday to have a conversation.
Senator Schumer, I saw recently, you've said that you're interested in good faith negotiations with these leaders, but what message does that send? Is it helpful to post pictures of Leader Jeffries in a sombrero if you're trying to have good faith talks with him?
Oh, I think it's funny.
You guys are hilarious. It's just so fun and funny when you guys make deepfakes and memes and you just own the libs, but also all of the American people. I'm gonna be laughing so hard, and I'm sure other people will be too, when they're starving because they can't get their food stamps, when we pause all cancer research because we can't get new grants or process paperwork. I'm also pretty sure that all of the people that are going to be furloughed or completely laid off are going to be laughing too. It's just going to be hilarious. It's going to be a hilarious time. It's also hilarious. You guys are trying to make the argument that this is the Democrats' fault, but they came to work yesterday. If you are still someone who thinks it's the Democrats' fault because they put a countdown or now a count up on the whitehouse.gov website, because they put weird banners all over the HUD.gov website, because they're continuing to spew this on every single news outlet's station, on Twitter, everywhere. If you're still thinking that because word of mouth said, use your eyeballs. In kindergarten, I would teach kindergartners during my student teaching year about the 5 senses, and they know that if you use your eyeballs, you can see things. Okay, bye.
I was woken up at 4:04 a.m. with a message from Spirit. If you wish to ascend, the only thing required of you is belief that you can. Now, like many great messages from Spirit, although it is small, it packs a lot of meaning. So let's unpack it. There has been so much said about Ascension, about the migration from the third dimensional reality to the fifth, creating the new earth, migrating to the new earth. It's been metaphysical, it's been physical, it's been completely fantastical as well as very practical. And all of this information makes it very confusing, and it's easy to get lost in the weeds. What is Ascension? How do I ascend? How do I make sure I don't get left behind? What about my friends and loved ones? What do I... But when Spirit comes through with messages like this, we can see that we've overcomplicated it. It's not that hard. Well, at the same time, it's kind of the hardest thing we've ever done. And it's hard not because it's complicated, but because it is emotionally challenging. We are being taken through all of our wounds, all of our shadows, all of our karmic history, and we're having to transmute it all, clear it out, heal. That's what Ascension is. We are rising above the patterns, the pain, the traumas, the behaviors. We're rising above all of it, and we're doing things differently. Now, there are so many ways that we are doing this. I, for one, in my part, I am a healer, so I talk about it through the lens of healing and how healing is a path that can get us to transmute, to release all of this so that we can ascend. There are many individual ways of doing this. So again, it's easy to get lost in the weeds. How do we actually ascend? What does that look like? And more specifically, what is preventing us from doing that? Do we have to wait till the whole world is there? Does it require a solar flash or a rapture or some big dramatic celestial event? Do we need the aliens to come and save us? Like, what's it going to be? What? So that's where this guidance comes in clutch today. All that is required is the belief that you can ascend. So I want you to ask yourself, those of you on an ascension path who, or just are curious about ascension and you want to learn more, you're like, I don't know if it's real or not, but like, if it is, sounds good, like sign me up. I want you guys to think about what level of belief you have, whether it's in yourself, the world around you, somebody else. What level of belief do you have that things can actually get better? And what belief do you have that you can survive and even thrive through what we're living in now? That is the one thing that will make or break your ascension path. It will slow you down if you don't believe or don't want to believe or have given up hope. If you believe your fear more than you believe in the possibility, that is going to stop you dead in your tracks, and that is giving your power to anyone who wants to impede your growth. Now, I'm not saying you have to full bore adopt some weird cosmology and now my new belief system is super gray and no one recognizes me anymore and maybe I'm a bit unhinged. It's not about that level of belief. It's about self-belief. And really, it can be boiled down to one word. It's about hope. Because hope is really undefined. Hope isn't specific. It's not, I will be okay when ABC happens, or I will only survive if XYZ doesn't happen. Hope is open and fluid, and it places trust, a cooperative trust, in a higher power or the greater good. Hope is that perfect balance between, I want a thing, I'm believing in a thing, but I'm also letting go, trusting in flow, believing in the overall trend to get us where we need to go. Now, hope is not toxic positivity, and hope is not happiness despite evidence that everything's going to be okay. Hope is not delusion. Hope is not ungrounded or unhinged. Hope is a tentative belief that no matter what, we can get to a positive place. And hope also allows for all of the messy, chaotic, uncomfortable, unfinished emotions that we're in now. Hope makes space for fear, confusion, grief, depression, anxiety, all these icky things that inevitably happen on every human journey and that are going to especially happen on an ascension journey because we're clearing it all out. All of it. From this life and every life we've ever lived, we're clearing it all out. So it's coming with a lot of uncomfortable emotion. So hope doesn't require you to be perfect. It doesn't require you to bypass reality and be happy no matter what. It does not require you to be delusional. It says, I accept where I'm at. I accept it, but I also have hope that this isn't where I'm going to end, that there is another trajectory, that there is a way to get me into a better place, to get all of us into a better place. That is hope. And without hope, there is no belief in a higher outcome. And that brings us back to the message. If you wish to ascend, the only thing required of you is the belief that you can. Do you believe that you have the strength to get through this time? Do you believe in the ultimate goodness of humanity, that we will come together through this and solve this crisis? Do you believe that you deserve happiness? Do you believe that it's possible for life to get better? Because when I say ascension, I don't mean a rocket ship to a new planet. I mean that humanity all wakes up and starts to work together to create a better life. I mean ascension, that you can transcend all of your past pain and become someone who is filled with happiness, who knows how to transmute their pain, who can work with healing, who can keep creating a happy life no matter what's happening to you and around you. I have that belief and I have that hope because I have walked that path. For those of you who are new to me, you might not know that in addition to being a psychic medium and a healer, I have done many, many decades of battle with mental health. My journey began at 9 years old with severe depression, which was not a thing in 1991, not a thing. And so not only did I not have help, my life was very dark and very chaotic while I had no support to figure out what was going on. And so in my decades of life, I have gone from being someone who is completely dysfunctional, nearly incapacitated by depression. No hope. That's a minor feeling compared to the depths of agony and despair that I spent years living in. Actual literal years of my life. Nervous breakdowns, living in bed for weeks at a time. I have been to extreme depths. And so now here I am, and this happiness and positivity and perseverance and hope that you see, this isn't fluffy, this isn't magic, this is me working my ass off to be this person, to develop hope, to develop the skills needed to heal my emotions, to regulate my nervous system, to be strong amidst adversity. And so my belief and my hope is not in the aliens or the rapture or solar flash or anything else. My hope is in my ability to keep persevering. And my hope is a belief that others can learn to do the same and are learning to do the same. And we're getting there together. That's where I place my hope and my belief. So, do you have hope and belief? And where are you placing your belief? And how can you learn the skills or take action or make changes in your life to align yourself with hope and new beliefs that allow you to see the world from a more positive perspective? This is the work of Ascension. And yes, Ascension takes work. And if you'd like help, I have an entire free emotional support playlist. It's over 60 videos long. I also have a free shadow work guidebook and an awakening guidebook. Those are on my website. You can get them you know where, and if you're on YouTube, it's in the caption. I also have a series of light circles, healing ceremonies, and channeled messages to help you navigate this time. Healing takes work. Ascension takes work, but it is all work that is worth it.
This is the Brownstone Center News Update for Wednesday, October 1st, 2025. Let's go ahead and get some news together, shall we? The U.S. government shut down shortly after midnight this morning after Congress failed to advance legislation that would have funded federal agencies for another 7 weeks. A key sticking point, Democratic legislators demand to extend health care subsidies that expire at the end of the year. An extended shutdown could see about 750,000 employees furloughed at a cost of $400 million per day in lost compensation, according to Bloomberg reports. It would also delay Friday's much-anticipated September jobs report. And meanwhile, gold reached a record high this morning as investors sought a safe haven. Tech behemoth OpenAI has unveiled Sora 2, its latest video generator. The artificial intelligence model's enhanced capabilities include more realistic depictions of motion and speech that better obey the law of physics, according to NBC News. To support its widespread adoption, OpenAI has created a separate TikTok-like social app that lets users post short-form, Sora-generated content and cameo with other individuals' video clips. Currently invite-only, it marks OpenAI's first foray into social platforms. Rival Meta debuted its own AI-generated video feed dubbed Vibes last week. JP Morgan Chase sees AI one day handling even the most complex banking tasks, and it has a roadmap to get you there. Chief Analytics Officer Derek Waldron tells CNBC that the bank is being fundamentally rewired for the AI era with an in-house do-everything portal powered by OpenAI and Anthropic. It can already produce an investment banking deck in about 30 seconds, a task that takes humans hours. The technology remains years from perfection, it says, but could eventually thin the ranks of junior bankers and displace other jobs to cheaper countries abroad. For more news and information that you can use, head over to brownstoneworldwide.com, Cityscape Radio, and you guessed it, Brownstone Living Magazine. We'll see you around.
Welcome to the neighborhood. Welcome to the neighborhood. Welcome to the neighborhood. Welcome to the neighborhood. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Donald Trump's dictatorship has officially started. To be fair, it started a long time ago, just kind of a slow rollout. This is just another day. Today, Donald Trump reminded us how grateful all of us should be that he is in charge.
No, we have a very safe city now. The country's going to be safe. We're doing one at a time, and we'll be going to Chicago. If you look at what's happened in Washington, D.C. right now, it is such a place. I just drove through it. And it's clean and nice and beautiful. And people are walking around and they're not afraid of being mugged. We haven't had murders. We haven't had anything happen in a long time. It took us 12 days to make it very good. It took us 20 days to make it beautiful. And now we're going to Memphis. But I think we should always keep a presence here, because if we don't keep a presence, it's going to come back.
Yep, nothing to see here. Just the sitting president of the United States saying that he's going to militarize our cities to protect us from ourselves. You know, like how Matt Gaetz hangs around underage women to make sure that nobody else causes them any harm. But these statements from Trump were merely a part of the Late Show on his dictator tour, because earlier in the day, Trump spoke at a completely necessary meeting with the military's top brass at Quantico.
I've never walked into a room so silent before. This is very... Don't laugh. You're not allowed to do that. You know what? Just have a good time. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you want to do anything you want, you can do anything you want. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room. Of course, there goes your rank. There goes your future.
It's funny because they think he's kidding. See, that joke had slightly less humor to it when he said it hours earlier just outside the White House.
I'm going to be meeting with generals and with admirals and with leaders. And if I don't like somebody, I'm going to fire him right on the spot.
Yeah, you see, it's hard to hear the laughs over the propellers of Marine One, but also because the laughs are, not there. But no matter, if you like that hilarious bit from our president, there is plenty more yucks where that came from on Trump's newest comedy album, Agree With Me or You're Fired, and other actual threats to military leadership. While it may seem like Trump has an adversarial relationship with everyone, including the members of the military, it turns out he was actually looking forward to this speech today, and that hasn't always been the case.
And I used to say, boy, I'm speaking in front of the military today, and it's embarrassing because I'm speaking in front of people who have a job that other people don't want, but now you have a job that everybody wants.
Oh, that's why you found it embarrassing to speak in front of the military? Here I was thinking that's because you never served and just dodged the draft by getting a podiatrist friend of your father's to diagnose you with bone spurs. Or maybe because, at a cemetery for fallen soldiers, you referred to them as suckers and losers. Or maybe because you talked about one of our nation's war heroes like this.
He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
You know, seeing it again after all these years, it actually sounds just as offensive. Now, we'll get back to Trump in just a moment, but the real brains behind this brainless gathering of military officials today was Pete Hegseth, Trump's Secretary of Defense, and very likely a member of the original Cobra Kai. Hegseth called this meeting because he felt it was totally worth spending millions of dollars to summon admirals and generals from around the globe so they could hear his highly important remarks.
No more beards, long hair, superficial individual expression. We're going to cut our hair, shave our beards, and adhere to standards. Because it's like the broken windows theory of policing. It's like when you let the small stuff go, the big stuff eventually goes. So you have to address the small stuff.
Exactly. You can't let the small stuff go. I mean, first it's a little stubble, then it's a goatee. Next thing you know, people start thinking it's okay for your leadership to brush aside allegations of alcohol abuse and sexual assault. But Hegseth wasn't just there to tell career military officials what their faces should look like. No, he also told them what their bodies should look like, too.
It all starts with physical fitness and appearance. If the Secretary of War can do regular, hard PT, so can every member of our joint force. Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are.
Exactly. That's not who we are. Our leaders are fit because they understand that cues are taken from the top and examples must be set. If you don't have a healthy body, you can't have a healthy mind. Yup, thank God our leaders know that. But back to our headliner and the man people were forced to be clamoring to hear from. Since many in the room had traveled from all over the globe to get there, Donald Trump felt it was only appropriate to be completely honest with them about their military equipment.
And I'm not a fan of some of the ships you do. I'm a very aesthetic person, and I don't like some of the ships you're doing aesthetically. They say, oh, it's stealth. I said, that's not stealth. An ugly ship is not necessary in order to say you're stealth.
That's right. Something's not required to be ugly to be certified as stealth. Just like because Stephen Miller looks like a rotting carcass that haunts me when I sleep, that doesn't make him stealth. Although, boy, I wish it did. Now, the reason for that earlier muted reaction from military officials when Trump took the stage is because, unlike Trump himself, they respect American values and the idea of a nonpartisan military, one that protects all of our citizens equally, a point that the commander-in-chief holds dearly and agreed with vociferously. No, wait, the pages are stuck together here. Yeah, Trump didn't agree with that at all.
What they've done to San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, they're very unsafe places, and we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war, too. It's a war from within. We're under invasion from within. No different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. At least when they're wearing a uniform, you can take them out. These people don't have uniforms.
I mean, sure, Trump is happy to make do by taking out anyone wearing these uniforms, but it'd really be easier for him if the American citizens he was targeting could agree on one thing to wear. The reality is, everyone keeps waiting for the moment where we officially get to declare Trump's presidency a dictatorship, as though there's going to be a countdown in Times Square with everyone wearing these glasses. But the fact is, we've already had plenty of moments before Trump dubbed citizens who disagree with him as enemy combatants. You know, like deploying the U.S. military to American cities like Portland, Chicago, or Los Angeles, the firing of U.S. attorneys who failed to enact his political agenda by engaging in vindictive prosecutions, ordering his Justice Department to arrest judges, mayors, members of Congress, and senators who refuse to do his bidding, banning members of the media who don't provide him with glowing coverage, meddling in our free and fair elections by trying to end mail-in voting, which is used by 30% of Americans, his attempt to undo the 14th Amendment, which would put an end to birthright citizenship, which is in the Constitution. All of these are textbook dictator moves, but thanks to an overwhelming amount of them, we have become desensitized to them all. No longer are we affected by the insane actions and ramblings of Donald Trump and his sycophantic administration. Now everything just feels par for the course, and that is their plan. It's not an accident that every speech, every conference, every tweet is pretty much a regurgitation of the one prior. It is a tactic meant to normalize a type of behavior that is not normal. See, if Donald Trump's presidency was one filled with standard governance and civility, then tweeting out a racist deepfake video of congressional Democrats as a way of pushing his political rivals would beget a national outcry. But instead, a video sent by the President of the United States, which, if posted by your high school science teacher, would likely cost them their job, is met with nothing more than a shoulder shrug. Trump isn't on the cusp of or heading towards being a dictator, he is one. And every time he makes one of his dictatorial moves, he must be held accountable. Because as someone once said,
when you let the small stuff go, the big stuff eventually goes.
Exactly.